I'm gonna talk about Fantasy Island. It's not a bad movie, but it's not a good movie. So let's talk about it. The story starts off when this plane arrives, and from the plane comes Melanie, JD, Brax, Patrick, and Gwen. They don't know each other, except JD and Brax. They're brothers. They don't look like it, but they're brothers.
Congratulations to each of you on winning the contest.
Lucky bastards.
And opened an amusement park?
Trust me, the island is so much more.
It's not an island, it's a fantasy island. And from the bushes, a very nice old lady is looking at them. I don't know who brings a whole picture frame on a vacation. And we get the first thing that this island has secrets. Or it's just a nosebleed, you know? But there's no accidents in movies.
When does this all begin?
After a good night's rest.
Oh, well, my brother and I still don't have our rooms.
That's because, gentlemen, your fantasy begins now.
But you said after a good night's sleep. First of all, these fantasies get very complicated, so bear with me. JD's and Bragg's fantasy is to have it all, and I could see like a million ways how this could be bad, you know? You don't want cancer, stab wounds, murderers, pet tigers, kids, stress, depression, trash. No, but they get an awesome pool party. So while they're partying around, let's check with Gwen. So she wants the most abstract fantasy ever.
So if I had one wish, I guess it would be to get a duo.
Yeah, a do-over. Like, what does it mean, you know? Like, can't you just have, like, sex stuff or to be a superhero? So she regrets not saying yes to a proposal 5 years ago. So she wants to say yes this time. While she's having boring time, let's check with Melanie. So Melanie's fantasy is to torture a high school bully. Finally, a good fucking fantasy. Not like Patrick. Patrick wished to be in an army. Which, what? Like, you know your country wants you to be in the military. You don't need to waste your wish on it. So, he jumps out of the car all willy-nilly, you know, and immediately gets attacked, you know, of course, because it's military, it's army. But before that, a nice old lady comes up and said, "Oh, this is a bad place. You're gonna die."
Why is my name on your dog tags?
But actually, his father is the leader of this military group. But the weird part, he died like years ago. And he gets attacked again. Going back to Melanie, after a fun torture session, she noticed that something is wrong and that Sloane is actually real, you know? She's not fake. And she saves her and they run into the woods. And they get attacked by a torture doctor and saved by the nice lady. So the old lady is actually a dude who was hired to find out what this island is, you know? And he takes them to this magical rock who produces this fantasy juice, and you know, he wants her to bring it back to show, yo, this black juice is bad. Later, they get attacked again by the torture doctor in the middle of a field, but this time, this dude, actually I don't know his name, so he pushes the doctor away, never to be seen again. Brax and JD aren't having so much fun because, you know, there's bad things come with having it all because somebody else wants it. So Brax fights off and kills one dude, and Gwen wakes up 5 years later. You know, it's the same day, but it's just 5 years later, and now she's a family, she has a kid, and has no memory of it. Like, that's the worst fantasy, you know? It's to have a family, a full-on family, for just a week, you know? Because when this vacation ends, they go back to their lonely-ass lives. But now she wants a different fantasy. Her fantasy is to save a person from a fire that she caused. What's with the terrible fantasies? That's not a fantasy, you know? And it's just for a week. What you gonna do with a saved person for a week, you know? He's disappearing, you know?
Those aren't the only rules, are they? You have one of your own. As long as you do the island's bidding, your wife lives. That's what you told me.
Yeah, I don't get this point. Of course he will have a fantasy. He found this place. So she goes to this fantasy and notices that JD and Brax were in that fantasy, and Patrick, who was the officer that refused to help, which, like, of course he would, you know, nobody wants to go in the Patrick's and JD's with Brax fantasies intervene, and it's a massive shootout, and everybody lives. Oh no, the dead bodies turn into zombies and kill JD with Patrick's father, who wasn't real, so I don't know why he's crying. So Brax and Patrick run away to look for Rourke.
Patrick? Brax? How did you find us?
We're looking for Rourke.
Yeah, they're not the sharpest tool in the shed. After looking at the right place, you know, in the main hall, they say like, hey, we want to leave this, you know, but they can't. And then Gwen comes up and reveals that everybody is related to the same accident, that JD and Brax were his roommates that didn't check up on him. Gwen caused the fire and killed him. And Melanie canceled a date with them, and Patrick didn't save him. They think Nick did it, you know, and they all won the same contest. Like, I don't know. And Nick gave them all personal fantasies before their death? Yeah, this movie has a lot of plot holes. So they run away and go to the same caves, and Patrick gets attacked by Melanie. Plot twist, Melanie actually was the evil one. Nick died and she didn't cancel the date. Nick just died, so she was like, sad. So she wanted to kill everybody and gave them all personal fantasies, acted very nicely all the time, you know, helped people to kill them all. Makes sense.
You boys can always take Patrick's bungalow and he can bungalow with me. I'm Melanie.
And Sloane uses her fantasy to wish that Melanie and Nick were together. So Melanie just dies. And it ends happily. Everybody's happy except JD and Patrick. They died.
So what's gonna stop us all from exposing this island and suing you?
Well, fantasies, Mrs. Madison, are a lot like dreams. You rarely remember the details, but you always remember how they make.
That makes no sense. Of course they will sue this place. They almost killed them. So Brax decides to have another fantasy where his brother is alive, so he has to stay at the island so that the fantasy could always be real. And that's it. I hope you liked it. Bye.